All right, cool. I'm excited to talk to you and to do the little interview. So I really appreciate it. You jumping on.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I appreciate your help because I don't think without your help I would be able to pass my exam because it's been quite a journey for me.
Right
For
on.
say for a year, maybe for a year seriously trying to take an exam,
Mhm.
and maybe about 2, 3 years thinking about it.
Oh,
So
wow.
kind of, yeah, so it was a little bit kind of exhausting.
I can understand that totally. So get us up to speed. Like, we haven't known each other for that long. How long were you in the accelerator? What was your kind of journey like before and, up to the
Right.
accelerator? Tell us about that.
Well, before I joined the accelerator, so I actually took an exam in December
Mhm.
and I failed. So basically, I did one of the boot camps, and I then I studied with different books and tried to like test myself, but I didn't have this understanding of the flow of the processes. So basically, my problem was that I read the book, I read the PMP, a few other books, and I'm just like, okay, so when they ask the question, the answer should be this.
Right.
And when I got to the exam, I was like, okay, there's no right answer. Like they give you four answers. I know what's in the book, but it's not there. So it was
Right.
kind of like my issue because I didn't have this logic and this thinking how to position myself in the processes and think more of like the flows and say, okay, so if we go back, what could have happened? Or like
Right.
if I go forward, what could have happened?
Right.
So yeah, until I joined the program, probably I really didn't understand the flows. And so literally I was in the program for 7 days before I took an exam. So, but I also had some type of a base. So basically, I guess I knew some terminology. I already knew all the formulas, so I didn't have to prepare for those and kind of understand them. And just kind of like the first day when you get this full overview of like, it's kind of like eye-opening.
Ah,
And I really like the motivational little videos, like
okay.
where you had like little interviews with other people, because I found myself like a little bit of discouraged, like, well, maybe I need to take more tests because I'm not taking enough tests, I'm not answering enough questions.
Right.
And then I watched the video where you say like, oh, follow the process. So you're gonna get there. And I was like, okay, so maybe I shouldn't get off track and actually follow the process and like methodically go through everything.
That's good.
And what really helped me to watch the recorded videos with when you answer questions with Rachel,
Hmm.
uh, and when you answer those questions on your own. So I think it was like 59 or 58 questions
Right.
decoded. So I was actually posing myself and answering the question, and then I would listen to your logic or Rachel's logic and kind of check myself, like whether like where I was off or is it something I'm not understanding in that question. So
That's
it
really,
took
really good.
me twice as long. So instead of like 2 hours, I spent like 4 hours doing that, but it was totally worth it. So
That's
it
good.
was almost like better than just taking those exam questions on my own and not understanding why I'm getting it wrong or right.
Yeah, talk me through that a little bit. Like, I have people come to me all the time and they say, how many questions should I take? Somebody told me that I should take 3,000 or 2,000 or whatever thousand. What is your opinion? How many questions should somebody take, or is it a better use of time to do it
Mhm.
differently? Kind of like, what are your thoughts?
Well, honestly, like coming into the program, I was thinking I have to take a lot of questions,
Mhm.
and I was thinking like, why do we have so little questions? Like, and they kind of like repeat itself, like kind of like you go through different questions, and you see, oh, I already saw that question.
Mhm.
So then I started to understand that actually it's not the amount of questions you need to take; it's the logic behind it. So it's almost like if you crack the logic you can answer any question. So like till this day, sometimes I receive like I signed up for all these different like small tests.
Mhm.
So I like read the question exactly how you taught us.
Mhm.
So you read the question first, then you read the problem, and then you eliminate your two answers so
Mhm.
that you're completely incorrect, and then you left with two best choices.
Right.
And kind of like as long as you have this method, like in your head and you can quickly enough like implement it, it doesn't matter how many questions I feel like you need to answer. So just practicing with a certain, I mean, I think like you have enough questions in your simulator to master that. So you
That's
don't
good.
have to so many varieties like to like, get completely ready.
That's good. So 7 days, you went from like studying for a couple months and on and off and doing all those things to like buckling down, following the process, and transforming how you understood things in 7 days. Um, what was one thing that you thought was the biggest? You talked about a lot of stuff, but what helped you the most make that transition and really understand things in 7 days? Was there one thing that was the most impactful for you?
Uh, well, I would, as I mentioned, like I answering, going through the questions. So that
Mhm.
was the best thing when I followed the logic.
Yeah.
And then also, I would say like the overall overview
Mhm.
and John's story was really great because
Okay.
like it gave me a great visual. And even during the exam, I remember that there was some question, I don't remember what exactly, but it kind of like it brought memory of John's story.
Oh,
And
okay.
I would think I was able to get a correct answer just based on the kind of putting myself in the situation.
That's really, really great. So I love the fact that you use the John stories like right off the bat, because you're right. It helps you put yourself in a real world situation where there's no iddos in the John story. It's not like John goes and says like the seventh
Hmm.
tool. No, he's just talking logically of how he can get better and try to work this. So really, really happy that that helped you. How about the
Yeah.
coaching calls? Were you able to go to coaching calls during the time?
Yes. Well, actually, since I'm on the West Coast, right? So I'm
Mhm.
in Arizona.
Yeah.
So I had some calls that started at 4:30 in the morning, my time.
Right.
So
Right.
and for 2 weeks, twice a week. So I was getting up at 4 in the morning to make those calls
Wow.
because I was like, okay, so I need to, if I'm committed to this, so I can get up and go through the calls. So it was already a commitment. So that's and I really uh, enjoy the calls because it's kind of like you put yourself in a situation where you're answering the questions with a group and you have like different perspectives. And then
Mhm.
also when you answer the question, it's kind of like you start doubting yourself, but
Mhm.
then you see like you hear other perspectives. So maybe it's a good exercise to be more, to trust your own gut
I
feeling,
think
kind
so
of
too.
like.
I
So
love that because I do these calls, I don't know how many times, 20 times a week or something like that, 10, 15 times a
mhm.
week. And a lot of the early on students say they make such great cases for working through their answers. And then they go at the end, they go, well, maybe I'm all wrong. Maybe I can walk it back. And I'm like, no. Stop at you made the good case, pick your answer and live with it. And so
Mhm.
I like what you're saying there. So you worked with Rachel in the morning, right? That's who you
Yeah.
worked with. So that's cool. You get to
Yeah.
see her in the videos and then work with her in person. Um,
Mhm.
now that was there, now that you're a PMP and you've gone through things and you reflect, is there any big misconception that you think that the general public has about how to prepare for the PMP or what it takes that you now
Mhm.
realize isn't true?
Well, I feel like the biggest misconception probably memorizing things also. So
Mhm.
as you need to understand the processes and understand how they all ties together. So it's almost like the key components. So I
Mhm.
really like also you had this I don't remember how it called them, but there was like 7 steps. So
Seven
first
flows.
you
Yeah.
7 flows, yeah. So
Yeah.
you decode like um, different areas like
Initiating
the work in,
change.
yeah, work
Yeah.
and like work information and procurement also I think part of that. So it's kind of like gives you those snapshots of flow and detail how they all collaborate together.
Yeah.
So I think there was like that's kind of like a core to that. And if you don't understand how it works, I think it's you can read PMBOK as many times as you want, but you won't be able to connect things together. Even
Right.
though PMBOK is a really great referral, like I
Mhm.
mean, reference book,
Mhm.
so they describe a lot of great details,
Mhm.
but they don't really tell you how to connect things.
Wow, that's
together.
good. That's good. I love that misconception that is that like don't memorize your way. I mean, you have to know the concepts basically and the terms and all those things, obviously, but seeing how things fit together and flow is the big picture. That's what we're trying to go through here. So, um, how was the actual exam? Like you took it live online or where did you take it?
I took it live online, so it was actually very easy, and I think it's maybe more relaxing to take it at your own home
Mm-hmm.
because you're in familiar environment. But so it was a very quick check-in process. So they took I took all the pictures of my surroundings. I sent it to them. The only thing I guess while I was taking exam, I was holding my kind of hand close
Yeah.
to my mouth. So and someone just like messaged me like, please don't hold your hands too close to your face.
Yeah.
So that was the only thing. And I know like in Accelerator, you tell us to kind of like get some speed at the beginning. So my mistake, maybe, I don't know. I took it slower.
Okay.
So basically, I kind of started slower, getting myself into the groove and
Yeah.
answering those questions. So I feel like second part of the exam when I took a 10 minutes break, which was actually really good because it gives you kind of like a good I don't know,
Mhm.
refreshment. So I had to really speed up. So I had to go really quickly.
Mhm.
And I had some questions where you have to calculate the like a critical path and
Oh wow.
so actually sit down and calculate them. But I was running out of time.
Yeah.
So to be honest with you, I just guessed the answers for those.
That's all right.
Then I had some formula questions, but they were easy calculations, so I was able to calculate them. And um, so I kind of since I was preparing for the exam before, so I don't know, I remember the formulas, so
That's
it
awesome.
wasn't the challenging part for me. So and I like math, so it's kind
Yeah.
of
Me too.
so
So
that
that's
was
good.
good.
That's good. Yeah, and I agree with you. Like momentum is more of like I think what you were building. You were focusing on the questions. You weren't freaking out. You were trying to get what you say flow. You're trying to get a momentum going. So I'm on 100% in agreement with what you did at the beginning. So
Mhm.
that's really really great. Now you got this is a couple days after you taken the exam. How did you do? Did you just barely pass, or did you get really good, or what was it?
Well, interesting enough, like all the areas I had above target,
Hmm.
except but planning was below target.
Oh, okay. Well, it
So
happens.
it was kind of like I guess it balanced me to pass because
Yeah.
so when they sent me my breakdown, so the planning was actually very like weak, like but everything was above target, but planning was below. So,
Okay.
but I passed the exam. So that's
Well,
why I was like, okay, I don't know why. Maybe I got many planning questions obviously wrong,
it's
but
all
I mean,
right.
I got the passing score.
And
Now I
that's
know
all.
what is my weak part.
So you can continue to study. So, what was the original reason you went and got your PMP?
Um, well, I've been working as a project manager for 4 years, and I work in education. So
Mhm.
it was kind of a well, I would say came to project management without any real experience. So I
Mhm.
started as a project coordinator, working on smaller projects, and kind of like growing into this role. And I really wanted to get education also on how to do it right, like what is how that works. Because I met a lot of people who come to project management from, I don't know, maybe engineering backgrounds
Mhm.
or working in the industry who works with project managers a lot. So it was also a lot of educational aspects for me.
Okay.
And I think it's a great milestone so to
Yeah.
move forward because I'm looking to maybe get into IT industry or move to completely out of education and start something where I feel like this um, so that's a great milestone and
Mhm.
recognizable as well.
That's good. And now that you keep working projects and doing things, do you think that you're doing things different or better as you kind of go back to the real world? Like, how has that changed for you?
I think actually it's much better because now I have kind of this flow set in my head. So I kind of like I
Nice.
know the process. So basically, I start, okay, so we cannot just start executing, right? So we
Right.
do a lot of planning. So we
Yeah.
collect those requirements. We make sure we have all the stakeholders in place. Because a
Hmm.
lot of time, like in real world, you forget your stakeholders, or someone forgets someone, right?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
there are a lot of rework you need to do because they want things differently, or and so it really helped me to kind of like organize the flow because and kind of keep everyone in scope,
That's great.
because like when you have initial meetings, so I work a lot with faculty and they're very creative people, some of them, and so we have projects set up, and someone decided, oh, maybe we'll add like 10 more computers or iPads for this program while
Yeah.
we're planning to have like only 30.
Yeah.
And so, and of course, it gives us some implications, and we cannot just throw in 10
Yeah.
additional iPads. And
Yeah.
so kind of like keeping, I mean, it's maybe like an it sounds easy, but to work with people it can be difficult because they totally believe that this is the right thing.
Hmm.
They would like to scale it right away, and
Mm.
so it's kind of
Yeah.
like keep everyone in scope, and so
That's good. You're
that was
keeping
a
them
different part.
organized and you're telling them like, hey, there are implications. There's going to be consequences. They may be good or bad, but we just have to be able to deal with them. And I like that. You're bringing the kind of focus and the flows and the structure back to regular work. I think they're really lucky to have you. So that's good. Um,
Thank you. And also taking the small videos through Accelerator, like those little portions of information towards
mhm,
the end, I think it was really helpful to kind of like understand the different parts of it. Like I think you talked about costs, like
mhm,
how to all the budgets, how like S curve works, and
mhm.
um,
Yeah.
so all the funding requirements, how that falls into place. So it kind of like all helped me to understand it, not just for the exam, but
Mhm.
for my day to day.
Well, that's
So
good.
it's so it wasn't just because the program I took before when I failed my exam, it was mainly just kind of like memorizing and just passing the exam.
Yeah.
But so through your program, I learned a lot as well. So it wasn't just like, okay, I get my exam and that's it.
You're right. It
And
kind of feels like I like the fact that the we go through these questions all the time and we talk through the like reality of project management and how we react to situations and how PMI says that we should and we think about that. It really doesn't feel like drudgery or doesn't feel like going through the PMBOK and memorizing stuff. It really kind of feels like, okay, how are we going to do this when we get back to regular life or when we're doing our job
Mhm.
tomorrow? So that's the part I really like about it because honestly, it makes me a better project manager to have to talk through the consequences of all these actions and the reasons with you guys every day. So
Mhm.
uh, I'm the luckiest of them all. So I get to sharpen the saw every day. So that's good. Now,
But
there are people out
right.
there that are just like you who have like studied for a long time, done bad boot camps, had bad experiences in the PMP, etc. And they
Mhm.
say like, hey, Victoria did it. I want to be like her. Um, what do they need to do? Like, what actions do they need to take? How do they need to think about things differently? What would you tell those people?
Well, first of all, I would tell them follow the process
Mm-hmm.
because believe in the process. So you have 7 days, and I think it's amazing how you structured everything. So you truly have a talent. I don't know, to break down things in a way that it's so easy to understand. So I mean, really advise them just follow the methodology and all the steps and. Um, for me, maybe it took me a little longer than 7 days because I think I started kind of on an odd day.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to break some portions in 2 days
Mm-hmm.
because I was going in a very detailed manner. So I would pause myself and I would make notes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would actually almost follow like a old-fashioned style, like when you're doing a lecture and you write things down. But that helped me a lot to review that. So the
Okay.
next day I would come back to my notes and read them and see, okay, so I wrote this down, probably I didn't understand that. And kind of
Mm.
this also reminds me the evaporating
Data
data
dump.
dump,
Yeah.
right? So because I mean, it's a common knowledge that everyone is doing the data dump to memorize it.
True.
But also, we're shifting to a completely new environment, taking this exam online, where you spend a lot of time typing this data dump down. So I think it's an old method. I don't know if it's going to work anymore. So so for me, I was writing everything I can and remember for my evaporating data dump as well.
Yep.
And going through the process and kind of like crossing out the things as I memorize them.
That's awesome.
And it was also great to, every time you listen to other students and their experiences. I don't remember the name of this lady. She was using different pens, like different
Yeah.
colors for
Yeah.
pens. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll try
Hey.
that.
Yeah.
And I tried it. I was just like, okay, so a different day I can use a different pen, different color. So it does help. So simple things like that, and just kind of you, through the course, you have this personal touch that really helps. I mean, I feel like anyway, it helped me to
That's cool.
be like more involved in the, so.
What do you mean by the
And
personal touch? Like, what do you mean by personal touch?
so basically, so you're not alone. So you kind of, it's not like you're just doing your online course or studying on your own. So you have a kind of, so those case studies that you show during the course, like like input from other students or other people who went through the program, right? So you can relate to them. And also you can learn from them some techniques that they used, and also listen to their thoughts, like how they felt on the day 2, how they felt on the day 7.
Yeah.
So it really because you can kind of like you feel the same going through the program, because there are times when like I got discouraged, and then I watched a motivational video or like other students sharing their experience, and would kind of keep me go. I don't know. It would
Kept you going.
help me. Yeah. So it would help me, and I was very kind of I don't know, excited to keep going.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's something in itself, because PMP has been in dire need of kind of some support, I think, for the learner. So I'm very, very glad that that you realized that and you appreciated that, and it worked for you ultimately. Because that's what, like, as I went through the first time and taught it and put the videos in there, then I said, you know, as all these success people like yourself and the others would go through, I'd say, like, what would you want to teach somebody that's going through? And they would say, I did this cool thing with the pins, with the evaporating data dump. Can I share that? And I said, sure. And this other person was like, I have this thing where I can understand how I break down questions. Can I share that? Sure. And everybody's got a little thing that work well for them. So with that saying, like, if there was something that people who are in the accelerator now, like something where you could say, something that you think that would help them based on what you've experienced, what would that be? Not to put you on the spot, but what would that be?
Wow. Well, I feel like I mean, I would say what really helped me, and I think I already mentioned that, was answering the questions like together with you and Rachel, or just with you when you did the decode, like hard questions decoded.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Group
So
calls,
basically, group calls, and just kind of watching those videos, the recorded ones, when I would pause and answer the question first, and go through my logic, and then listen to the logic of that Rachel had in the recorded video also.
That's good.
So I
Yeah.
think I think that helped me a lot, because, and then I would take my notes and see, okay, so I missed this one for this reason. So it kind of helped me to get in the mindset. So kind of like created this framework for me to see, okay, so this is the logic behind it, and this is how I'm thinking. Because like all other things, like you can learn them, you can memorize the like terminology and different like techniques, and but this is something that you need to understand how that flows and how to answer those questions. And I had a lot of procurement questions, and procurement is not my strongest side, so it was but it was good. So it really helped to learn a lot of things about procurement through the course.
That's good. Well,
So
that
I
is
guess I
really,
don't.
okay, go keep going.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I don't have like a real trick, but that was that
But
was
you
the
gave me
key
a
for
bunch.
me.
You started off like, I don't know what I'm going to say. And then it just kept coming and coming and coming. So there's a lot, like
Yeah.
you know, you said a ton. So I think that's going to help a lot of people out, like sticking to the process, going through in detail, like all those things following. It's obvious that you spent the time to slow down with a lot of questions. And that I think is super powerful and super important. If people just like let their own brain work through the logic and see what happens and compare it with other people. So
Hmm.
that seems to be really helpful. So we'll continue to do it. That's good.
And I would say your podcast was like a real, I don't know, game changer for me because this is
Okay.
how I learned about your program and about your book. And it was like very random. I don't even know how I ran into the podcast. So somewhere I read an article or something, and then
Mhm.
I started listening to your short like recordings and different like inform things about like I remember the schedule crashing, like fast tracking
Yeah.
and crashing. So, and you give this bright example where you like explain, okay, so if you like crash the party, so then you add more people. And then if you take like a fast tracking when you ski, so basically you put everything in parallel. So those visuals, I think they're priceless. I mean, those are
That's
the things
awesome.
that help you to memorize things, like because it makes it more engaging and very, I mean, interesting and kind of it's a completely different twist on learning process.
Well, that's the good. I mean, I think
So
that everybody out there, we got to find out what works for them. But for me, I literally remember before my exam saying, what is the difference between crashing and fast tracking again? And I didn't have a great example in my head. I mean, I guess I got the question right and stuff, but as we start to make sense of like, what is crashing? What is fast? There's all these little examples. And once you start to, like, you remembered the party thing. I had forgotten I used that example. So now it's back in my brain again, the crashing. I know, remember the skis and stuff. But if you can get those examples, then you just have it at that point. You
mhm.
understand it. You can relate it to something and you could use your brain for something else. So that's cool.
Right,
I
right.
think that's great.
Yeah.
And we're up to 98 podcasts. So come next week, we'll be at 100.
Nice.
And so you may be like podcast 101 or 99 or something like that. So it's cool that you
Ah.
were a listener and now you're, if you want to, be on the podcast. So that'd be
Oh,
pretty cool.
wow. Okay,
So
awesome.
I'll send it to you when it goes live. So
All
that's
right,
cool.
perfect. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
and it's really cool that you reached out and did that stuff. And we got you in the accelerator, and 7 days later,
Yeah, I really appreciate because it was your very quick response, and I kind of because I already had my exam scheduled, so it was like I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready. I don't know what to do. I just need to prepare. And then very quickly you responded to me. We set everything up, so I really appreciate that. So it was,
not a
I
problem.
mean, customer service was excellent.
Well, I'll let them know that we appreciate it. So like,
Yeah.
so that's awesome. And that's the coolest part is like people out there, you don't, I mean, a couple every day go, hey, I'm either too scared to take the test or I got a call last night. Literally, I got a call last night late. I failed today. I don't know what to do. I don't want to give up. And then
Hmm.
like, I get crazy calls like that all the time. So it's
Right,
really
right,
cool when
yeah.
people reach out. So that's why like we don't want to wait till the
Mhm.
next day or the next hour. We're like, hey, they have a problem. Let's solve the problem. Like, or let's get on the team to solve the problem.
Right.
So yeah, it means a
And
lot.
it's very important, yeah. So it means a lot for both sides. So it creates
Absolutely.
this, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Little relationship. Well, Victoria, I really, really appreciate your time. And it's been great to only know you
Thank
for
you.
about 7 days, but this isn't the end. Like, we'd love you to stay involved with the site. You always have access. And as we start to roll more and
Thank you.
more project kind of content out and courses and stuff, get involved. And you're a super asset to us. So we really, really appreciate it. And you did such a great job.
Thank you.
So that's
Thank
cool.
you. Thank you.
All
I
right.
really
Well,
appreciate it.
yes, ma'am. I'll let you know when the podcast goes live. And thank you again.
Awesome.
Good job.
All right.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Yep.